Good morning and good luck. And welcome back to Good Luck with Gino. I'm your host, Gino the Ghost, and you're watching episode 55 of the fastest growing podcast in the world. And if you're here, you're early. How's it feel? If you're watching on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast channel. Leave a comment, a 5-star review. Send it to a loved one. If you're watching on YouTube, and you should be watching on the YouTube, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you smash that fucking subscribe button like you've never smashed a button before. I want you to literally break the fucking trackpad on your MacBook if you have one. If you've got a mouse, I want you to fucking squash it like a mouse in a mouse trap. You're going to smash that fucking subscribe button. And then what you're going to do, you're going to get on a plane. You're going to go to a small town in California, right? Just in the middle of the country, Southern California. And you're going to find a family in that small town. And you're going to meet the children of this family, 2 twin brothers. You're going to trick them into selling you a plot of land for $10,000, okay? You're going to get that plot of land. And what they don't know is that there's oil on that land, okay? And then you're going to contact a man named Daniel Plainview, and you're going to sell him that plot of land. And he's going to build an oil pipeline directly from there to your laptop. It'll sound a little something like this. I'm an oil man. This is my son, HW. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. That's a There Will Be Blood reference. And then you're going to fucking grease up that algorithm with that oil. And the good news is that pipeline, that oil pipeline, it's running directly into your home. So the oil is just going to be pouring into your home. And you're going to use that oil to lather up the algorithm in the comments section before this video even starts. Maybe you even comment, I'm an oil man. This is my son, HW. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. If you haven't seen There Will Be Blood, it is maybe my favorite. It's a top 5. It's in my top 5 favorite movies ever. Go fucking see it. Daniel Day-Lewis. It won a cajillion awards. It's scored by Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails. It's incredible. Okay? And if you watched it, you would know how great of a reference that was. Okay? Anyway, you're going to grease up that rhythm. You're going to leave a comment. You're going to make sure you're subscribed. You're going to hit the like button. And if you were, you'd see what we got going on today visually. I'm wearing some we got the fucking Cartier Romance face jewelry on today. Very vintage, very exclusive. You're not going to see these around. The last time you maybe seen these on a Coke dealer in Miami in the 80s. And they're just really complimenting the fit real nice. We got all these earth tones on right now, real earthy tones. I mean, look at these pants. I got these pants in Italy, and this is a true story. I got these from a small town tailor who's like young son, like greeted me at the shop in Italian, didn't speak a fucking word of English. The father came out, didn't speak a word of fucking English. I mean, these linens are so cozy. And it was an appropriate outfit for tonight because it's a night session for me. I normally record these podcasts kind of like in the afternoon, like 1, 2 o'clock. But it's a sultry 8 p.m. right now. So I want you to, I know you're probably consuming this right at Monday morning, the second it comes out. But I want you to just pretend you're cozied up at a campfire with me as I go through the episode with you. I'm recording this episode a little earlier in the week as well. I'm going to India tomorrow. And I'm going to be gone for a week. And I'm very excited to see India. I've never been. But I think it's really important to travel and see parts of the world that you're not super familiar with. I'm going with my girlfriend who's Indian. And we're going to see her family. And then I'm going to go to Mumbai, do some meetings in Mumbai. It's a huge emerging market out there. So it is also business. But, you know, I like to travel. You know, I'm not like most guys. I'm not like most people. I'm very interesting. I like to travel. It's one of my little quirks. I like to see different, and maybe I just got a touch of the tism. One of my little superhero quirks about me is that I like to travel and see the world. So yeah, going to India will be fun. Will be a good time. I just got back from a studio session. I was at a studio session today. Wrote another hit. Obviously, it's what I do, right? So just did that. Wrote a hit. Hopped on over to the podcast, the dojo, where I like to throw down these absolute instant classic podcast episodes. And today we're going to talk about a lot of tech stuff. We're going to talk about tech. We're going to talk about music. Okay. First thing, there's a new app coming out. It's an old app, but it's a reboot of an old app in a new app. And it's called NoSpace. Sound familiar? Does that remind you of MySpace? Because that's what it is. Gen Z is recreating MySpace with a new app called NoSpace. Real creative. There's a 380,000 person waitlist for this app. Probably more by now. But it's essentially a new app where users will have a personal and customizable profile page where they can share casual updates on what they're up to, connect with friends. They'll also be able to share what they're watching, reading, listening to in real life, and star their interests to allow them to find people with similar interests. So kind of like in that sense, it sounds like a dating profile, but like for friends, kind of. So they're going to feature something called boosts instead of likes, which is interesting because the boosts won't actually push the content up in the algorithm or rank the content. So I think they're trying to not do have a different kind of algorithm. I'm not really sure, but most notably, there will be a top 8. Now, let's back up. If you weren't on MySpace, you had to be there. If you weren't on MySpace, man, did you fucking miss out. I mean, if you want to talk about the history of social media, and I'm going to age myself, but if you're younger, you need to hear this. Before before Twitter, before TikTok, before Instagram, before Facebook, there was MySpace. Before MySpace, if you really want to go back, there was LiveJournal. There was Zanga. Who had a fucking Zanga? Anybody? Did you have a Zanga? Zanga? AOL, like AIM, was kind of a form of social media. Like you had a bio and like a profile on AIM. So people started kind of customizing those, and your away message kind of turned into a sort of a, if you know, you know. But anyway, we had LiveJournal, we had Zanga, and then eventually MySpace kind of changed everything. And I want to just say, as the original social media app / music app, MySpace was also great for breaking new music. You could actually put a song on your profile. And it was a point of pride and a really cool way to show everybody who you were, by having your MySpace song. And what's interesting is the difference today, just to kind of bring it back home to where we are right now. If you look at the difference between MySpace and a TikTok or Instagram or what they are now, social media today isn't really social anymore. I mean, it is, but not in the way that it used to be. Today, everybody is just cyber stalking each other's lives and moments and consuming content, but nobody is really socializing. Do you know what I mean by that? Your followers, and not everybody, but most cases, your followers and the people that are consuming your content, they're not really engaging with you. They don't really know or give a fuck about you or your life. They're engaging with the content, and usually for a reason, right? So if you think music, for example, everybody in my industry, we all follow each other. Like all the top songwriters and producers, like we all like know each other kind of and like follow each other. And like when somebody puts out something that they're really excited about, it's just like you comment like, congrats, or like fire emojis, or like, whatever the fuck. But like back in the day, you used to really connect on social media with these people. Like you would talk, oh my God, what an exciting song. Like like you'd have engagement. And today it's like, I have hundreds of thousands of followers, and I've really made it a point to try to like engage with my followers. That's why I spend hours every day, literally in my DMs and in the comment section, just trying to like connect with people, because I feel like as a creator and as a brand, it goes a long way to actually make connections with people, for people to feel seen. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, I don't think people are used to that anymore. Whereas it used to be everything. And that's something that Facebook did and kind of still does. Like Facebook's kind of the last surviving social media Instagram has evolved into something else, but Facebook is kind of the last like contact book, address book for people in your life. Now, I don't ever post on there anymore because like I'm not a boomer, but they're there. The people are there, and a lot of my content like cross posts, and I'll get like long Facebook messages from people I went to high school with, or like people I know from back home, like, yo, so good to see. And like an engagement will happen, So MySpace really had that. And again, to bring it back, most notably, the top 8. I don't think motherfuckers could handle a top 8 today. Gen Z would implode if they were given the power, the responsibility of a top 8. The drama of a top 8. A top 8 was cinema. You could tell 1,000 tales with a top 8. You could tell when people were in a breakup. You could tell when friends were fighting. You could tell when a friend was climbing the ranks of a friendship. If you drop down in somebody's top 8, you're like, what did I do? Did I do something, or did they do something? The person that jumped me. It was a competition. It was the wild. It was Hunger Games. If there was a girl you had a crush on and you entered that top 8, you could swing from the fucking trees like Tarzan. I mean, the top 8 was something special, and they're bringing it back, and I just don't know if it's going to work. I don't know if, like, I'm telling you, man, these motherfuckers are about to explode. Everybody's got some kind of, like, neurological, everyone's, again, I have anxiety, I'm depressed, everybody. You're telling me they can handle a top 8? No shot. Let me have a sip of this unbranded water to really let that marinate. Dude, MySpace was crazy. Fun story time. Time for a ghost story. Trademarked. I think I may have been one of the first people to ever get catfished. Ever. I was very young. I was in middle school. And I was not supposed to be on MySpace. My father banned me from he was like, you are not allowed on MySpace. Delete your profile, get off MySpace. Now, we used to have one family computer in our living room, okay? There was no such thing as fucking laptops. I had a Motorola Razr, so there's no smartphone, okay? This is even before the Razr, I think. So I would sneak onto my computer and I would go on MySpace. And nobody was fucking tech savvy back. I mean, I don't know how, like my dad could have probably just gone to the history and just found it. I didn't know how to even clear history. So I would sneak onto MySpace, and I still have my MySpace. And some super cute girl like followed me and messaged me. And she was like, "Hi, I just moved here from Alaska, and like I'm new to the area, and I'm coming to school next week, and I can't wait." you know, blah, 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 just chat me up. And I went to her profile and she's like, she's like in the snow with this jacket, and she's like in these modeling photos, and she's like, I'm like, oh my God. And we're chatting and we're chatting and we're chatting. And I'm like super like, oh my God, I can't wait to meet this girl. Oh, I can show you around the school. Yeah, we can take whatever the fuck I talked about in middle school. I don't fucking know. I was in the 8th grade. I was, So we're chatting, we're chatting, we're chatting. And then like, I'm starting to notice like weird things. Cause even though I'm a young kid, I'm an intuitive motherfucker, right? I'm smart. My street sense skills were a sharpened blade before my balls even dropped. And I'm feeling something is amiss. So I'm like, man, you don't have any, like, didn't have any, all her friends were like friends from where, like her MySpace friends were friends from where I lived. And I'm like, you didn't have any friends from back home? And like, didn't have a lot of photos, obviously. And like the messaging was like kind of weird, like the messages, that I was getting. So she was like, I think like, I'm trying to remember, this was so fucking long ago. Basically, long story short, she like gave me her number. I didn't call it. And before I even could, she was like, I got a message. Is your father's name Joseph? And I was like, my dad's name is Joseph. So I'm a little fucking weirded out. And then I'm like, is this my dad messaging? So I'm like, no. Why? Ha ha ha. And then she sent me my first and last name, my address, like all my information. And was like, why did you lie to me? Don't lie to me. So now I'm fucking freaking out. I'm freaking the fuck out. I'm like, oh my God, something is wrong, right? So then I call the number. I'm like, I should call this number. So I call the number and it goes to voicemail and it's like, hi, you've reached Philip Menetos. Da, 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 da. Like, and his name was Philip Menetos. I'll never fucking forget it. I freaked the fuck out. I fucking run right to my father and I tell my dad. I'm like, yo, Dad, I'm so sorry. Like, I fucking tell him I'm sneaking on MySpace. And they call the fucking police. And I never fucking heard anything after that. The profile was gone the next day. And I never heard anything. That was the end of it. But I got fucking catfished in middle school by Philip Menetos. And thank God, I mean, I wasn't going to like meet up with a guy that like, hey, I'm her daughter. What was he even going to say? I'm her father. I'll come pick you up and we'll go see, I'm not an idiot. I mean, I was in middle school, so maybe I am an idiot. And I got fucking kidnapped and sex trafficked and who knows. Thank God. Thank God. Anyway, okay, well, that's enough on NoSpace. So I'm curious, I don't know. Keep that on your radar. It's definitely worth monitoring. In other tech news, an interesting story, something that I like never thought would happen. Probably that none of us thought would ever happen because it's been so ingrained in our lives. But Google search is declining. That's right. The search engine that has become a verb, just Google it, is declining. Google's search engine market share has dropped over 4% this month alone, and Bing is seeing an uptick. That doesn't sound like a lot, but Google's search result market share has looked like this for the past like fucking forever, decade. And all of a sudden, a giant drop. And I want to talk about why. So in 2019, Google's search division faced significant revenue concerns. There are reports that they initiated what's called a code yellow, which is basically an emergency response due to declining daily revenue numbers and projected quarterly shortfalls. So essentially, they're having this issue where they've got the traffic, but they were not pulling in the amount of money that they thought they were going to be making. People weren't advertising as much, or the advertising wasn't as lucrative as they thought. So the focus then it shifted to aggressively driving growth, which prompted Google's advertising and financial teams to like kick it into fucking overdrive, which led to a shift towards prioritizing revenue over user experience and search quality. And you may not have realized this initially, but you sure as fuck realize it now. If you search something on Google, the first 3 results are usually sponsored scams. And if you don't know this, man, good thing you're listening. When you search, like especially to download something or for a website, you need to quadruple check it's the actual fucking website and not a third party or a scammer trying to take you for more money or take all your fucking money. I can't tell you how many times, like around this time in like 2020, 2021, before I really got keen to it, where I would be looking up like, you know, Delta customer service or like AAA. And I would call the first, you know, the number that pops up because it looks like it's like the logo and it's a number that's like a 1-800, and you call and you're on the phone with somebody, and like 10 minutes in, you realize, wait a minute, you're a fucking like third party person trying to charge me money to just do the thing. Do you know what I mean? They started to prioritize advertising over accuracy. And like, you know, once this corporate prioritization started, initially there was internal resistance, right? So key figures like Ben Gomes, who's a longstanding advocate for integrity of Google search, resisted this push towards monetization. And however, they just faced so much pressure from advertising in the financial sectors that it led to prioritizing financial objectives. And Google has since just been deteriorating and deteriorating and deteriorating. And eventually, Ben Gomes, who was like the head of Google search, got replaced. So he was replaced by a guy named Prabhakar Raghavan. And that was kind of the beginning of the end for real. This change diluted the original ethos of Google search. And he was a money guy. And he really prioritized financial metrics over product quality and user satisfaction. This guy worked at Yahoo and was like there when Yahoo fucking went down. So like, why are we bringing in guys from Yahoo, the biggest bag fumble in the history of the internet? And if you don't know the story of Yahoo, it is a bag fumble. Maybe we get into that in another episode. But yeah, I mean, basically they just implemented a bunch of strategies that aimed at like increasing short-term revenue, and the search results have just deteriorated significantly. The narrative, like the culture that was Google, which was like innovation-driven, growth-oriented, has just completely changed into focusing on financial metrics instead of this. Now, obviously, Google as a company is still focused on innovation. You look at like, you know, Bard and what Google's doing with AI and other things like the Google Mail Suite, the Google Suite, like G Suite's Fire, like all that shit's great. But the search engine has literally just turned into a cesspool of advertising. And, you know, we see this a lot in apps where, you know, there's an influx of at first it's like user experience. That's how you onboard users. That's how you keep them on the platform. You give them the best experience. And then you want to make money. So you start pumping in ads. And the thing is, usually, and we talked about this on a previous episode, but targeted ads don't feel so bad, right? Because they're things you like. So if you look at Instagram and TikTok at the beginning, it was a lot of targeted ads. But the problem is they're just not as lucrative as they used to be. And so to make up for that, they're just pumping in non-targeted ads, which feel like spam. And you're seeing it everywhere. And a lot of these, you know, I mean, the fucking ads are everywhere. And Google is just holding no punches. They're just spamming. And I'm telling you, this is the crack in the dam. And if they don't get their shit together and right the ship, it's going down. Because already I'm going to Reddit more. I'm on ChatGPT for search results. I'm on Twitter searching for shit. I even used Bing last week because I couldn't find it on Google. And I had to fucking scroll down. Dude, I'm sick of scrolling past bullshit. So Google better fucking get it together, bud. Because it can, slowly, then all at once. I had a fucking Cobra before I got here, and I'm jacked up. Can you guys tell? I'm all hopped up by Mountain Dew. Talladega Nights. Okay, our main story. We're going to shift gears. I've been getting a bunch of people, Gino, we want to hear you talk about music stuff more. I love the funny stuff. We love the funny videos, but we want you to talk about music more. All right, fine. Because this is one of my favorite topics, and it's a spicy combo. So, Rick Rubin is one of the greatest producers of all time, the GOAT. Not only that, he's got a book called The Creative Act, A Way of Being. It's an amazing book, just about the creative process, being an artist. If you have not read it, I implore you to read it. His mind is unreal. He's got the hits to back it up. He's just a very intelligent, introspective guy. So first I'm going to play a clip, which is where he kind of talks about the creative process and something from his book. But I want to kind of set the stage of what we're going to talk about today. So here's Rick Rubin on creating for yourself.
Something I say in the book is that the audience comes last. And I believe that. I'm not making it for them. I'm making it for me. And it turns out that when you make something truly for yourself, you're doing the best thing you possibly can for the audience. So much of why, if you go to the movies, so many big movies just not good. It's because they're not being made by a person who cares about it. They're being made by people who are trying to make something that they think someone else is going to like. And that's not how art works. That's something else. It's not art. That's commerce.
Bar.
So if we're making art, it's almost like a diary entry. So could I be concerned that someone else might not like my diary entry? It doesn't make sense. You know, it has nothing to do with them. My diary entry has nothing to do with anyone else. So everything we make as artists are essentially diary entries.
Okay, so that's objectively just an incredible thing to say. And there's so much truth in that, which we'll talk about. But our topic today is because another musical genius, a guy named Jacob Collier, had a contradicting statement and basically like took him on head on this topic. And we're going to watch that next. And then we're going to unpack the two things. So Jacob Collier, just to set some context, he's an artist, a producer, writer, but he's a fucking like savant. He's like musically one of the most brilliant minds, period, in music. He's won a bunch of Grammys. I've met him a couple times. He's hilarious. Nice guy. And so I don't really know how to describe his music. It's very like, it's so fucking musical. It's very avant-garde. It's hard to palate if you're not like, you know. Anyway, let me play the clip and then we'll talk about this.
I worry about this the strong prevalence of an attitude like the audience comes last. Partly because I also believe that there just is no one way of doing anything. I feel as a deeply creative person, I would critique Rick in a sense that I don't think his audience is creative people. I think his audience is people who aren't creative, for whom creativity is novel. And they're thinking, gosh, wow, I'd never even thought that you could make something for yourself, you know? But I feel like anybody who's inherently creative in some way knows that there's no one way to do anything. You can make work for people. You can make work for an audience. You can conform to the algorithm. You can make an engaging thumbnail. That's cool. For anyone to say there's only one way of being, I think is flawed and maybe unhelpful. Last thing I'll say about Rick before we move on, is I don't trust him, because he started his career making this commercial music, which is beautiful, and we all love it, and it's amazing. And I'm sure he has his own opinions of that work, but I think to say art is only pure, you know, or meaningful if you make it only for yourself is hypocritical of him, because I think that he's made a lot of not just popular, but actually beautiful and meaningful work for many people. I think what he maybe is trying to say is that he wasn't fulfilled by the work, which is totally valid. And I think that all of us seek our own fulfillment in different parts of our life and existence. But
yeah, so pretty crazy. Jacob is getting killed for this interview. They are dragging him in the comments section. I mean, basically a lot of it is like, Rick Rubin has fucking a cajillion hits. Who are you? You don't have any hits. All your music sucks. I've never heard a song by you I want to hear again, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I think a lot of it is getting lost in like what they're both trying to say. So I want to unpack this argument, which is basically creating art for yourself versus creating art for your audience. Okay. So obviously, like, you know, what Rick is saying and his whole ethos is that, you know, the only way to make real art and make it authentic is to make it for yourself and not give a fuck about the audience, because the audience does not know what they want. The audience is not, you know, you are you, and you are creating something that the only way like that it can mean anything is if you are just giving your unfiltered, you know, putting your authentic experience into it, your emotion into it. Because that authenticity can be powerful. You push the boundaries of genre, you're influencing broader trends within the industry. And there's obviously countless examples of this. One of my favorite albums ever, which is 808s and Heartbreak by Kanye. It's like the sound sonically he does not give a fuck about who is listening to it. It hadn't come out. It was a sound that hadn't existed yet. And what he was saying was obviously like pouring himself into these records, and they were just like so mind-boggling and crazy. And they pushed the boundaries of music and changed rap forever, really. Music forever. And that innovation and evolution kind of only exists when artists are prioritizing self-expression. Because you're experimenting with new sounds and concepts, and you're not letting like broader trends influence you. You're influencing trends, if that makes sense. Now, on the other hand, I think what Jacob is saying is like, there's no one way to do anything. And if you're creating art thinking of the audience and catering it to an audience, that doesn't mean that it's not art or that art can't be meaningful, which I agree with. I don't think that like there is one way to create anything. I think you could argue like some of the works that are clearly not for an audience or like feel more avant-garde, they kind of hit a different nerve, right? When an artist is like solely creating for themselves, and you can tell they're not making it like a pop record, thinking of pop formula and like things that are popular, those things hit a different part of like the music funny bone. You think of like, you know, Frank Ocean, some Frank Ocean records, or like, what was that one sound that went viral? Like, I'm gonna be one of the greatest, I'm just being honest. When that girl was just a cappella, like that shit was crazy when I first heard it. Sorry. I just apologize to the microphone for hitting it. Sorry, Mike. Sorry. You know, but I think, you know, where I stand on this, and I'm a songwriter and producer, right? So, but thinking from an artist perspective before I get into like songwriter producer thing, you know, I think once an artist has curated a sound that's true to them, it's your job to use the tools that you've learned along the way to make it palatable. So let me explain. Like, okay, you're an artist and you're exploring with sounds and you're doing stuff that is authentic to you and true to you and organic to you, and you stumble upon something that people resonate with, right? It is now your job in 2024 to make that sound palatable and appeal to and get it in front of many people. And in order to do that, in this age where a large part of being an artist is being a marketing director too, and knowing how to capture attention, you do need to fucking do things for the audience. It is a fucking dogfight to get their attention today. I respect the hell out of Rick Rubin. I'll never tell Rick Rubin how to do anything. If I had a conversation with Rick Rubin, if me and Rick Rubin had a podcast on this right now, I would let this motherfucker talk for like 90% of the podcast. What am I going to tell him? But Rick Rubin is from a time where all the great artists had to do was create great art. And in many cases, they didn't even really create the great art. But you create a great piece of art that's honest to yourself and true to yourself, and then the label does everything. The label would push that art onto the world, and the consumer was told what to listen to. When many of us were growing up, we were told what to consume. Sure, we like chose what we thought was hot and like the cream rises to the top, but you would sit down and watch MTV and VH1 and get in the car and listen to the radio, and they would play you the hits that were being presented to you and paid for by the label. It was curated for an audience. You would go to the fucking CD store and you would buy, now that's what I call hits, and it would give you the hits. And, you know, a lot of that music was commercial. But the point I'm making is today, consumers are not told, in fact, nobody can tell a consumer what to consume anymore. Nothing is curated. Spotify is curated by your algorithm and interests, literally. Even New Music Friday has like lost steam. Rap Caviar, no one goes there anymore. Those playlists were like the last bit of curation left. Human curation barely exists. It's really in the hands of content creators. Human curation now are fucking TikTok influencers and academics and Twitch streamers and Kai Cenat. You know what I mean? So as an artist, you know, and this is just to bring this whole point home, there needs to be, in my opinion, a coexistence of personal and audience-oriented art. I think, you know, in order for your art to not feel plastic, and this is a problem that a lot of songwriters run into, this is the difference between a great pop writer and a mediocre pop writer, or a great rap songwriter and a mediocre songwriter. It is the authenticity. When you walk into a session, right, you're thinking, and obviously as a producer too, but I'm just talking as a writer. You walk into a session as a great pop writer and you think, today, I'm going to make something that I want to make. Let's say I'm I'm doing a session like for a Beyonce record. I'm going to go into that Beyonce record session and I'm going to say, I'm going to make something that I would want to listen to, that I enjoy making, that I fuck with, that I rock with, that I want to hear Beyonce do. And that's what I'm going to do today. And if they don't like it, I don't give a fuck. I'll make another one tomorrow. If you're a mediocre pop writer, you go into that session and you think, I'm going to make the Beyonce song that I think they want. I'm going to go create what I think that the label and that Beyonce want to hear. An exceptional songwriter goes into that session and says, I'm going to make whatever the fuck I want today, but I'm going to do it in a way that is palatable and that maybe follows the brief of what they're looking for. So let's say like they're looking for, Beyonce is looking for, an up-tempo 80s style pop record, think Dua Lipa, blah, 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 blah. This kind of, I'm going to go in there and make whatever the fuck I want that's fun, that's organic to me, but I'm a great artist, so I'm going to be able to do what they are also looking for in a way that doesn't compromise my artistic integrity, that doesn't feel like it's not organic to me. And the same goes for music today. Like if you're an artist trying to get your music out there in the world, don't ever make something that doesn't feel like you, because you'll hate it and you'll stop pushing it and you won't give a fuck about it. Find something that makes you happy, that inspires you, and then twist it. Be a fucking artist and make it you, but in a way that has appeal and you don't know what that is, obviously, but you have an idea if you're good at what you do. You have an idea of what people want. I think about this podcast because when I make this podcast, I'm an artist. And to be honest, the success that I've had on social media is because I'm approaching it from a place of an actor, as an artist, as a songwriter. I'm thinking these segments and things that I put together, I know what people want. I would never make this show in a way that I didn't enjoy doing, right? I would never fucking spend an ungodly amount of time on this that I do, money on this that I do, if I didn't enjoy doing it. I could be fucking making so much goddamn money right now doing like Web3 shit or creating more music. I love doing this, right? But I would be a fucking idiot if I made this and didn't also think, what's working? What does my audience want from me? What can make me go viral more? That still feels authentic to me, organic to me. But I would be a goddamn fool to not also be thinking of the people. And that doesn't make what Rick is saying wrong. Rick is talking about a different part. He's talking just about the creative experience. So the funny thing about this debate, Rick Rubin versus Jacob Collier, they're kind of saying the same thing. I don't know if they're saying the same thing, but they're not as far apart as they think they are. It's really a difference of like linguistics. Because, in all these hits that Rick made, he's still thinking like, or I don't know, but what I'm saying is, if I'm making a song that is explicitly for myself, and I'm making a record that feels true to me and is authentic and organic to me, I'm also going to be following, in many cases, pop formula. What works? That doesn't mean it's not art or like expressive. It's just a little technical. And someone like Jacob Collier is insanely technical when he makes stuff. He's a fucking savant. And his underlying point, which is true, is there's no one way to make it. There's no one way to make art. And like Jacob Collier is saying, like when he makes art, he's making it for an audience in mind. And you would say like, well, how? His music is not pop. It's not palatable. It's like a math problem. It's incredible. If you haven't listened to his music, you should. But don't expect to be like riding in the car with it. You got to like listen to this shit. It is like a concert. It's crazy. He's got like 50 vocal stacks with like 30 harmonies and like different keys, but they're in key, but it's like nuts. But he is making it for an audience. He's making for that audience, that niche super musical fucking audience. And he's thinking of them when he's making it. And his point of like, you know, creating thumbnails for, you know, you have to play the game today. And again, I love Rick, and you should listen to both. And a creative should listen to multiple people. You should not follow one fucking rule book. Rick Rubin's book's incredible, but it should not be the only like source of creativity and information you consume. So anyway, I think like the last thing I'll say on this, there's a big difference today in people who seek to impress and people who seek to express. There's a big difference. And as an artist, if you solely seek to impress, you've already failed. You're destined for mediocrity. You are doing it for the wrong reasons. You should quit and do something else. You'll never be happy. You'll probably never be that successful. You will hate yourself and it, and you will grow to despise whatever medium you're in. If you seek to express, even if you don't have success, you will feel fulfilled. And you'll have fun doing it. It'll be a bummer that you're not getting the validation and popping off like you think you should, but you will be miserable. And I want to bring it all back home to the $700 pen face jewelry debate. It's a perfect example. This kid who was the reason I kind of was picking on this fucking guy, because he had that $700 pen, and he said it himself in the video, to impress. I have this $700 pen because most people don't have a $700 pen. Most people can't afford it, and that's why I have it. I buy face jewelry because I seek to express. I love wearing this shit. I love how jewelry makes me feel and look, and that's how a lot of people are. People that paint their nails, people that dye their hair. I know a lot of people give them a lot of shit. You know, when I used to fucking paint my nails, I used to get grilled in the comments. People calling me fucking gay and all type of stuff. It's expressive, dude. And if you are not expressing yourself, then you're probably miserable. And if you're an artist or a content creator or whatever, and you're seeking to impress, and that's the only reason you're doing something, the art is going to feel like shit. And all these motherfuckers that I be making fun of in here, it's because they're all seeking to impress instead of express. So those are my thoughts on that. And now it's time for everyone's favorite segment. The FOH HOF. The fuck out of here Hall of Fame. Let's get into it, yeah? All right. Our first video. It's two podcast bros.
If you think your partner's sweat smells good, it means your DNA are opposites. So it means that you guys would have a genetically very good child. It means that you guys should procreate with each other. It attracts. So it's a good thing. If your partner thinks that your sweat smells good, it means that you're a good fit to have a very genetically strong child.
Good. A genetically very good child. What the fuck does that even mean? What does a genetically very good child mean? What's the science behind that?
If you think your partner's sweat smells good, it means your DNA are opposites. So it means that you guys would have a genetically very good child.
A genetically very good child. My parents must love the way each other's sweat smells because I'm handsome as fuck, dude. I'm a genetically very good child. Look at me. Have you ever seen a genetically very gooder child than me? It's clear to me that a lot of you have parents that did not enjoy each other's sweat. Not very genetically good children. Ugly in the face. That is such a weird thing to say. So obviously the science here completely made up. He's referencing a study that he just completely mischaracterizes, and genetically, your sweat, you like the way the sweat smells because your DNA is opposites. and you'll have a very genetically good child. Science is objective. Genetics are subjective, not objective. There's no science on better genetics. This is how World War II started. What is good genetics? Don't ask Hitler. Your DNAs are opposites. Like, what is this guy talking about, man?
Means that you guys should procreate with each other. It attracts. So it's a good thing. If your partner thinks that your sweat smells good, it means that you're a good fit to have a very genetically strong child.
Yeah. Bro was magna cum laude at Trust Me Bro University and then got his master's of epology at TikTok Tech, where he saw somebody talk about this and then just like tried to regurgitate it in a podcast and over some fucking soft piano music and completely missed the plot. I mean, this is the average convo of someone that just learned about pheromones for the first time. You know how somebody just learned about pheromones is because they'll tell you about pheromones. Anytime somebody's in conversation like, oh yeah, you know, I met this girl, her pheromones were, it's like, oh, you just learned the word this week, didn't you? That's a big word. Oh, and it starts with a PH? Really? No shit. Huh. Crazy. And it's a natural scent? Oh. Yeah, dude. This is why when I was single, I would just walk around the gym smelling women. I'd just walk around. They'd be in the middle of a set. Sorry, I'm just... Yeah, I just don't want to waste any time, you know. I was going to ask for your number, but I had to make sure that our children would be genetically very good if we got that far. Fellas, this is why it's important to only shower once a week. And if you go on a first date with a woman, make sure you have not showered for a couple of days. If you showered that morning and a girl spontaneously asks you to go out, maybe kick the can down the road a few days. Make sure you really reek. Because if you're sweating, if you have that natural body odor, she'll probably want to have sex with you and give you a genetically very good child. In fact, every first date should be at a sauna. Why waste time? You're going to take a girl to the fucking movies where it's dark? You're going to take her on a dinner date with the aroma of food everywhere? No. Take her to an infrared sauna and just smell her. Just sweat all, you know what I mean? Get right to the point. On a serious note, actual science. Women, you should know this. Birth control can change women's pheromones. And I know I'm doing the tone where it sounds like I'm going to say something sarcastic. I'm being dead serious. Birth control can change women's pheromones. So ladies, you need to be careful. Because if you get off birth control to get pregnant and your man no longer likes you or like how your sweat smells, your baby will come out ugly as fuck. It's true. You guys are really attracted to each other. He loves how your sweat smells. It turns him on. It's time to have a baby. You get off birth control. All of a sudden, he's hitting it from the back and he's like kissing on your neck and he's... What the fuck is this smell? Why do her pheromones smell? But it's too late. He's already put a baby inside you. 9 months later, that child's going to come out ugly as fuck. It's going to come out genetically not very good. Because your guy's DNA is no longer it changed when you stop. Do you know that? It's in science. Speaking of sex, this next video is from maybe the FOH HOF president at this point. One of my favorite guys in the world, Andy Elliot. And a bonus, he's with his wife in the video. And they are sharing way too much information.
Dude, we've had sex every night together for 4 years. Like, dude, we don't miss out on shit. If you have sex every night, the devil don't come in that bed. When you're married and you have sex, you're not mad at each other no more. You kill all resentment. It's like God is sex positive. He's not negative. The devil is negative because he wants you guys to not be loving, not be close.
Thanks for that. Thanks for that visual, Andy. Hey, Andy, thanks for putting that image in all of our heads. Really appreciate that. 4 years without missing a day? Dude, that's 1,460 days in a row of sex. I don't know, Andy. I smell cap. You've told a lot of lies in your time, Andy. But this one might take the cake. 4 years without missing a day of sex. I like sex. But even I'm like, at some point, I don't really, you know? Also, no chance bro can get any circulation in his dick with those shorts. I mean, between those tight shorts and the TRT smoothies that he has for breakfast every morning, any semen left in his balls are about as potent as an ant bite. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. All those testosterone injections got to go somewhere, I guess, right? Honey! Oh, man. Dude, 4 years without missing a day. I mean, you know what that means, right? 4 years without skipping means Andy here is swimming in the Nile River. Yeah? Bro is yelling, so woo! Once a month. Throwing up gang signs in there, you know? So whoop, and da-da-do! Andy, I didn't know you were a treetop blood. Can't call yourself a knight without a little blood on your sword. Am I right, Andy? Oh, Andy, you're a Red Wings fan? That time of the month, huh? Roll Tide. Yeah. What the fuck is he talking about here? God is sex positive. You know?
Dude, we've had sex every night together for 4 years. Like, dude, we don't miss out on shit. If you have sex every night, the devil don't come in that bed.
The devil don't come in that bed. Does she? Dude, what are you talking about, man? God is sex positive. What the fuck? The devil wants you to retain your semen. God wants you to fuck your wife's brains out every night. You know? The devil designed those shorts. The devil made those shorts 3 sizes too small. Bro, where are they right now? Is this just a regular sales training course that he just busted into a monologue about his sex life? Dude, that's so... Or is this a sales training for married couples, maybe? Is that what this is? Fellas, when your wife says, I don't feel like having sex tonight, you say, okay, sure, honey. Sure, I understand you aren't feeling it. Of course you aren't feeling it. I haven't given you anything yet to feel, right? So how about this? Why don't we lay down in the bed? I'll take you back to the bed, and I'll give you a 5-minute proposal with my fingers about why sex tonight will be a good idea. Does that sound like something that might interest you? And then you can really feel, and then you can feel about it. Is that something that might interest you? Dude, 4 years in a row, every night. Bro made sex with his wife part of his routine. You know? It's a chore. It's on his agenda. Wake up at 3 a.m., 30 minutes of meditation in the Mind Palace, 5 hours of legs in the gym, 8 hours of telling men to take their shirts off and stealing their money, 8 hours of selling cars, and then fucking my wife from 8 p.m. to 8:07 p.m. I'm fucking more than you. 7 minutes of sex a night. Stack that up over a week, that's 49 minutes. Stack that up over a month, that's 196 minutes. Over a year, 2,352 minutes of sex a year. You gotta step your game up, fellas. Haters in the comments say my shorts are tight. You know it's not tight? That's right. Man, I mean, this guy, he never seems to fail to let me down with the funny video. Okay, last video. This guy has also been in the FOH HOF before. Let me take a sip of water. Okay. Here goes this fucking jackass. Let me find this video. Here it is.
3 emojis men should never use when texting a woman.
I mean, just off the rip, you know?
3 emojis men should never use when texting a woman.
Look at his hands. 3 emojis that women should never use when texting a woman. Or whatever the fuck he said. All right. Okay, let's watch. Fellas, pay attention.
3 emojis men should never use when texting a woman. Number 1, anything with a monkey face. This looks massively immature and feminine. Ick score, 9 out of 10. Number 2, red hearts. If you are going to use a heart, only use the black one. Number 3, any emoji that shows too much excitement, emotional vulnerability, or romantic interest. The big smiley face, sad face, kissing emoji, eggplant are all perfect examples. Once you stop using these emojis, you're going to notice that women are going to start respecting you more. So try it out.
So girls don't like the eggplant emoji? You mean to tell me women don't like the eggplant emoji? Fuck. I wish I knew that sooner. Okay, so let me just recap. Red heart, gay. Don't do. Black heart, masculine. Cool. Edgy. Mysterious. Fellas, do not be excited. The girl you're texting should never think you're excited to talk to her or happy, right? So you want to avoid smileys, no laughing emojis, no crying face emojis unless they're like literal tears because you're so miserable to be talking to her, right? This is what I would do, and I'm an emoji expert. Simply text her, "Sup, babe," straight face emoji. "What you doing, princess?" Crown emoji. "I want to get straight to the point," needle emoji. "I'm just trying to fuck something right now." Clock emoji, hourglass emoji. "We'll have a fun time," wave emoji. Swimming man emoji. Explosion emoji. Black heart emoji. It's got to be a black heart. Strong arm emoji. Pointing at you emoji. Hug emoji. To be clear, not cuddling, but an embrace before you pipe it down. Leg emoji to signify showing leg. Wheelchair emoji. The wheelchair is to signify that you're going to beat it up so good that she can't walk after. And then you end the text with "pick you up at 8, black heart emoji." Now, a common misconception or a common mistake that men will make is that they'll text the eggplant emoji after "I'm just trying to fuck something right now." But you want to use the clock emoji because that signals your time is valuable and she's not a priority. And you got to let her know that in the emoji. Very important. All right, let's get serious. You know what? Let's get fucking serious. Here, you want some real fucking dating? You guys want some real emoji advice? Let me put on the Pit Vipers. Pikachu, can I borrow these real quick? I just gotta hold these. Let me just grab this real quick, Pikachu. Sorry, buddy. It's time to get serious. It's time for some real advice with Gino, right? So the thing about emojis, this is just absolute fucking bullshit. And you knew that. But let me explain why it's bullshit and why emojis are your friend as a guy texting a girl. His whole thing is like, yeah, emojis are, you want to be mysterious and you don't want to show any emotion. Dude, bullshit. Bro's just not funny. If you're funny, emojis are a cheat code. Emojis are your greatest tool if you're funny and interesting. girls love to laugh, and emojis are a great way to express that sense of humor that you got, boys. Emojis show that you're not taking things too serious. You like to have fun. I mean, there's nothing more boring than like texting somebody that just doesn't ever use an emoji. And this is just like a platonic thing too. Like if I'm texting with somebody and they're not using any emojis at all, it must be a business conversation. Even in business convos, I'll throw a fucking crazy emoji in there you'd never expect. You know what I'm saying? I'm a funny guy. I'm a creative guy. And, you know, texting is much like Rick Rubin was saying. You create for yourself. When you're using emojis, you're using them for yourself, not for your audience. And I think there's a lot of truth in what Rick Rubin says. Because when you're talking to girls, you want to listen to women. And, you know, obviously, like when you're having a conversation with a woman, it's about the woman, but you need to be yourself the whole time. If you're texting a girl thinking like, what's she going to want me to say? What color heart emoji should I use so I don't look feminine? You already fucking lost, dude. You got to be yourself. And emojis are entertaining. They're fucking funny, dude. They're fun to use. And that's not just for you to use. They're fun to receive. They make texting way more fun and allow you to be creative in conversation. This motherfucker thinks he's Hitch, dude. He's probably the most boring texter in the world. He wants you to, as a guy, be like, sup? Not much, you? Chillin', just got back from the gym. Fucking snooze face emoji, dude. Bored. Desert emoji. She's dry. Bro is calling emojis feminine, but is scaling this list with an ick score. Red heart emojis too feminine. Ick score 9 out of 10. Gay. Anyway, guys, don't listen to this fucking loser, dude. Just use emojis as you would want to use. Now, obviously, like, don't use eggplant emojis. That's one thing he said that was correct. Do not use the eggplant emoji. Unless you're being, like, funny, and you gotta really be skilled to use the eggplant emoji in a funny way. But, like, spice it up with some funny emojis. Get in there, fellas. Scroll. Really get in that emoji index. Find something funny. The parachute emoji, you know? Hit a girl with the parachute emoji. She won't even know. She'll be like, why is he? The snowboarding away emoji. You know? Get creative, guys. I should start a fucking, why don't I do this? Fuck a podcast. I should start grifting lonely single men into giving me money to tell them how to text and use emojis. Because I'll give you some actual good advice. Unlike this fucking guy. That's going to do it for our show, guys. I got to go pack. I have a 20-hour travel day tomorrow. So I want to thank you for listening to Good Luck. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, send it to a loved one. God, my voice right now, how silky and sultry is my voice? The night podcasts hit a little bit different, don't they? It's kind of like a bit of an ASMR kind of thing. You feel like you're listening to an audiobook. I'm doing voiceover. If you're listening on YouTube, you're not just listening, you're watching. And you're looking at one of the flyest motherfuckers in the world. And you know what? Let me take the Pit Vipers off. We do need to put the Cartier romances back on for the outro. It wouldn't be right. Pikachu, can you fucking stand still, dude? Oh, you're a mess. Look at you. They're not even on correctly. Jesus Christ. This is my childhood Pikachu, by the way, from when I was a young kid. I don't know if you missed the episode where I talked about bringing him back to California. And shout out to Gengar in the back. My guest, or my co-host, always kills it with great input. Anyway, if you're watching on YouTube And you should be watching on YouTube. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, guess what? Time to head over to YouTube and watch it now and consume the podcast again. This is the way to consume the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that like button, punish that subscribe button, like BDSM style. Tie it up, fucking string it up. Handcuffs, little whip. That subscribe button. And contact my boy, I'm an oil man. Grease up that algorithm. This is my son, HW. I'm an oil man. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. All right, we're gonna have to watch that real quick. I know we're going a little bit over, but I drink your milkshake. Spoilers: if you haven't seen, There Will Be Blood. Oh, it's an ad. Oh, guess what? It's an ad. Thanks, YouTube. You're fucking me right now, YouTube. Oh my God, it's a 15-second unskippable ad? What world is this? Too long, skipping forward.
Drainage, Eli, you boy. Drain dry. I'm so sorry. If you have a milkshake, and I have a milkshake, and I have a straw, there it is. That's a straw, you see. Watching.
He's talking about oil.
My straw reaches across the room and starts to drink your milkshake. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Don't bully me, Daniel.
One of the greatest. I drink your milkshake. I drink it up. One of the greatest scenes in the history of film. You gotta fucking watch There Will Be Blood. Anyway, I'm an oil man. This is my son, HW. You're going to go ahead and fucking oil up that algorithm with a comment about what you enjoyed about this episode. And I'll see you guys when I'm back from India. And so as the world continues to crumble, we're going to go ahead and send it off with everyone's favorite song, right? The AI theme song. So thanks for joining us today, guys. And good night and good luck.
Everybody listen close. There's a brand new show that you gotta know. It's called Good Luck with Gino.
That's me.
It's gonna get you moving, get you in the zone. Good luck, good vibes, good times. With Gino by your side, you'll be feeling fine. Every week, he's gonna bring the hype. Woo! So come on, let's go tune in online. Yeah. Good luck, good vibes, good times. With Gino, it's gonna be a real delight. So get ready to laugh, learn and grow. Good luck, let's go.
Bitch. What do you think about that, Rick Rubin?